What if AI could build your app? So this is the app we'll be creating. If you type in Washington, it will get the weather for Washington with a 5-day forecast for Washington, and also an AI summary with more information to do with the weather during that period. If I type in London, it will also get the weather, the temperature for London. As you can see, the 5-day forecast for this week. I type in a very hot country such as Africa. Shows a hot climate, hot temperatures for Africa with the description. If I type in a very cold country such as Russia, then you'll see it's in minus degrees, it's freezing. So this is the application we'll be creating using Swift and SwiftUI. In this tutorial, we will add our icon function. The purpose of that function is to return the correct system image based on the temperature and the weather code. I'll just copy and paste the code for the function that I have on the clipboard. We also need to update or rename the freezing threshold C variable. Maybe it's spelled incorrectly, because it should be the same spelling as seen on line 92. So that should be freezing. It should be threshold. C. So how did I define it up here? So that should be threshold C. So that seems correct now. And also for the very hot threshold C, did we define that? So I think that's how I defined it previously. Copy and paste that there. And for the freezing threshold C on line 92, just include an R. Now I'll just compile it. So compiled. So what else do we need to do? So we also need to create another function that will convert a date into a short weekday string. So let's create that function now. You can create it anywhere. I'll just create it after lines 84 or after lines 83. Func weekday from date which will also accept a date and return a string. Self dot down formatter, which we need to create afterwards. String from date. So that will get the string from the date. And now we create our down formatter, private static let down formatter, date formatter. So this will format the date correctly. Let f equals date formatter f.local equals current f.date format is equal to EEE, and then return the date formatter. So what we do there, we create a new date formatter instance. We use the user's current local, such as EN UK or EN US, and then we format the dates as a short weekday, such as MON, M-O-N for Monday, or TUE for Tuesday, or FRI for Friday. And then we just return the configured formatter. The next thing we need to do for the date for the down formatter, I need to include an open bracket, close bracket on line 90. And self should be capital S. Next thing we need to do is to create a colors function, private colors, so the colors function will accept an int and also a temperature of type double, and then it will return the color and the color as a tuple. Maybe it should be the actual color object, color. And the purpose of this function is to decide the color based on the temperature and the weather code. If temp C is more or equal to very hot threshold, and return dot orange dot yellow, and the reason for doing that is so that the weather forecast for the 5 days will relate to the actual temperature. So if it's like very hot, it will show like a very hot sun icon here. If temp C is more or equal to hot threshold, switch code case 0, 1, 2, return yellow for the color, and for orange, and that will signify that it's mostly sunny, and also hot as well. Default, return, yellow, and grey, which will signify that it's a bit cloudy and at the same time quite warm. For temperatures that are below 0, we do the following. Temp C is less or equal to freezing, threshold C, switch code case 71, 73. So if it falls between these cases, that means the weather is freezing, it's very cold. And it could also snow. White and blue, which will represent snow. The default, return dot blue dot white, which is a generic freezing condition. And then the next condition we have to check for is if it is cold but above freezing temperature. So temp C is less or equal to code threshold C, switch code case 61, 63, 65, 81, 82. Return blue dot grey, and that signifies that it's raining or there's going to be showers. Case 45, 48. Return dot grey, grey, opacity 0.7, and that means it's foggy. Case is 3, then we just return grey, grey, opacity 0.6. That means it's slightly overcast. And then our default will be to return dot teal dot grey, which is a generic code condition. Then after line 119, enter the following: if 95, 96, 99, if it is included in the array, so what that does, we pass the code to the contains. So if our code contains any of these values, 95, 96, or 99, then we return dot yellow dot grey, and that will signify that there will be thunderstorms with bright flashes and dark clouds. The next thing we need to do is to create another condition, and that will be used for our palette for other mild conditions. So switch code case 0, just return yellow, yellow, which will symbolize that it's a clear sky. Cases between 1 and 2, and we return dot yellow, grey, which will symbolize that it's partly sunny with yellow and grey clouds. Or if case is 3, then we return dot grey, grey opacity 0.6, which is a overcast layered grey color. If the case falls between 51, 53, 55, then we return dot blue, opacity 0.7, dot grey, which will symbolize that it will be drizzly with light blue and grey clouds. And that will be return if case is 61, 63, 65, 80, or 82, that means it will be rain. So we should return dot blue and grey. And if the case is 66, 67, and we return dot cyan dot grey, and that will signify that it's freezing rain. The case is 71, 73, 75, 77, 78, 85, 86. And we return dot white, should be dot white, dot blue. And that represents snow and a very cold day. For our default, we just fall back to secondary color. So that should be dot secondary, dot secondary. On line 127, there should be a dot there. And for line 134, there should be a colon after the 82. Let's compile it. Cannot find yellow in scope. That should be dot yellow. And the grey should be dot grey. Compile it again. Compile. We also need to create another function. This function is called palette for current. And the purpose of this function is to return the color palette for the current weather condition. Function palette for current. We return color as a tuple. Guard let cur as in current. I just type in current equals bundle dot current else return dot secondary return colors, which is the function that we created earlier. Get that one there. Okay. So that should be colors, and then we pass in the current weather code, and also the current temperature. We also need to create another function called palette that will return the color palette for the given weather code and temperature. For code, steps in int, temperature, C, which is double, and then we return color, colors, so just pass in the code, and then temp C for the temperature. In next week's tutorial, we will implement a sync button, the Ask button, that enables AI to be called from the application.